Field in Boston. A beautiful night for soccer. The sky and the conditions all look good. We should have a really fine match for you tonight. The University of Connecticut Huskies, 3-2-1 on the season, taking on the BU Terriers, off to a slow 1-2 start. New England ranks second, or UConn ranks second in New England right now. BU ranked fifth. But joining me again for the color commentary on tonight's telecast, as always, former All-New England standout for BU, Gary Swanson. And Gary, the records, the rankings, none of it really means anything when UConn and BU get together.
I'll tell you, Scott, both Joe Maroney and Neil Roberts know the importance of this game for the future of New England soccer this year. Both coaches know that this game may well represent the playoff bid.
Well, to be sure, BU is out here defending its New England championship of a year ago. UConn looking for a return to postseason action after only its second absence in the last 17 years. So certainly a big game for both teams. Some of the key performers for UConn, certainly a man who has been key all season long. He's been a rock and goal for Joe Maroney. Had a great road trip out west against two very tough teams. And he's only a sophomore, actually a redshirt freshman, so he's got 4 years of eligibility, and I know that's got to make Joe Maroney happy.
Tom Foley is off to a great year so far this year for UConn Huskies. He's got a .92 goals against average. He's got one shutout already. He's very confident for a freshman, Scott. I think this is due to the fact that he played on the under-16 national team, and he was a parade All-American performer at Bill Recca High School.
Well, on the other end of Joe Maroney's formation, and certainly the other end of the ledger, a guy who can and has done a lot of scoring for the University of Connecticut in the past, now playing a forward position, a senior who has missed an awful lot of action during his 4 years due to injury. He appears to be healthy this year, and certainly that would be a bonus for Joe Maroney.
I think Joe Maroney wants to see Kanto Lulai fit this whole season. He missed 26 games due to injury his freshman and junior years. Last year, he only played in 13 games, but still managed to score 7 goals. This year, he's off to a fine start with 3 goals.
Well, we look at the Boston University end of things, and you talk about scoring for the University of Connecticut, guys who can put the ball in the goal. And, of course, the list starts to grow this year with Dan Donegan. We mentioned Kanto Lulai, Kevin O'Hara, Steve Rammel, and the list appears to go on and on for the Huskies, who've shown a lot of balance this year. So that's going to put a lot of pressure on the man in goal for Boston University, a man who really, I think, Gary, and you know this as well as anybody, had to fill the biggest shoes in New England this year.
Paul Ian had to fill some very big shoes, the shoes of John Moe, who was an all-New England performer at Boston University. Land has welcomed the challenge, though, has played very well for Neil Roberts, was recently named to the all-tournament team at the Mayor's Cup in Oneonta, New York.
And on the other side of the ledger for Neil Roberts, going from the goalkeeping to the goal scoring, and the man who really wrecked UConn when they met last year in New Britain, Connecticut, the 2-0 win for Boston University, the man who really did it was Gary Bertos.
Mike Bertos there, Scott.
Mike
Bertos. BU needs Mike Bertos to have a very big season if they wanted to win New England championships. This year he only has 1 assist, no goals. They need Mike Bertos to score goals. He can be a goal scorer. He scored 50 goals in high school his senior year.
Well, we know what can and has happened when these two teams get together. We expect more of the same tonight, so we should have a good one for you, and we'll be back with the opening kickoff right after these messages.
All good horse traders know horses. The best ones know cowboys, too.
He needs a little work, but the price is firm. He's worth it, but I'm a little short. Just pay me half now. If I don't hear from you, he knows the way home.
Push. Head for the beer brewed natural as a mountain stream.
Head for the mountains of Bush Beer.
If you've ever thought of starting a business, or if you already have, the Wall Street Journal could open some new doors for you. And more important, help keep them open.
Call 800-336-1111 for this special introductory offer. 13 weeks for just $29.75 with a money-back guarantee. 13 weeks, $29.75. Phone 800-336-1111 now for the Wall Street Journal.
The action continues this fall when NESN brings you more Boston College football. The Eagles are flying high, and the excitement heats up October 6th at 7:30 p.m. when the Pittsburgh Panthers host Boston College from Pitt Stadium. Coach Jack Bicknell will be along for his insights and comments on an afternoon of great Eastern College football. NESN has all the Boston College football action here, October 6th at 7:30 p.m. when the Eagles meet Pittsburgh, only on your New England Sports Network.
Welcome back to Nickerson Field on the banks of the River Charles in Boston. UConn and BU set to do action here tonight on the soccer turf. And starting for UConn tonight at the forward positions will be number 7, Dan Donegan, the high-scoring sophomore. He'll be joined up front by another sophomore, number 11, Kevin O'Hara, and senior Canto Lulai wearing number 14. There have been some changes in the lineup for Joe Maroney. He has dropped 2 players from his starting lineup, back Bill Lawrence and midfielder Mike Tunson. The change is like this: as Maroney responds to the 4-4-2 formation used by BU, he'll have 4 midfielders with the 2 newcomers to the lineup at the center midfield, Fred Carlos and Wayne Churich. Carlos number 15, Churich number 8. On the wings at midfield, number 6, Steve Rammel, number 13, Diego Borja. And he'll go with a 3-back formation, again in response to the 4-4-2 of BU. The 3 backs, the center backs, number 2, Todd D'Alessandro, and number 4, Kerry Rudick. And the sweeper back, Chris Reef. In goal for UConn, Tom Foley. For the Boston University Terriers, as play is underway, we'll set the lineup for you as we go. With the ball right off the bat was Mike Manilow, number 3. He's one of the midfielders tonight. Number 18 playing the ball also at midfield, Barry Dugan. The other midfielder, Christopher Hagan and Greg Felbard. The forwards for BU tonight wearing number 11, George Zapata, number 13, Mike Bertos, the man who did the scoring for BU in the win over UConn a year ago. At backs, number 2, Ben Acaro, number 5, Luis Cortez, number 6, Tony Lawler, and number 7, Robert Buckmeyer. In goal, Paul Leanne for Boston University. And we are into the opening moments of action here at Nickerson Field. BU controlling the play, but back to UConn now. Wayne Churich, one of the newcomers in the lineup, taken down from behind. Greg Felbarg doing the takedown, and Canto Lulai with the free kick.
Well, Scott, this is where Canto Lulai is very dangerous. I know BU does not want to give him too many opportunities around the penalty box this game tonight.
We have seen how he and Dan Donegan in particular work this play for UConn. Lulai tries to rebound one into the goal. Paul Leanne pulls it down. And BU back on the set. Leanne calling the signals. Long kick out.
I think we'll see a lot of the goalkeepers punting the ball in the first half, Scott. Both teams are going to come out very safe. They don't want to be throwing the ball to the outside backs too early. Don't want to give away an early goal.
BU coming back, unable to keep it in bounds. It'll be a throw-in for UConn in front of the BU bench. Chris Reef with the throw-in, a long throw-in to Canto Lulai. Lulai looking for somebody in the middle. He finds Donegan. Donegan trying to work it into the middle now, unable to connect with Rudick. Borja tries to keep it in. Ocaro brings it back, or make that a Manilow bringing it back for BU. Felbarg controlling to the outside. Felbarg with a man. Or that is Felbarg with the ball on the outside. Cortez brings it ahead to a Manilow. Manilow outside, sends it across to Ocaro. In the area, a rush on goal and kicked away by Chris Reef. Boston University trying to get that quick early advantage on goal as Joe Maroney looks on. And Maroney calling instructions to his sweeper back, Chris Reef. In on goal was George Zapata, getting the first opportunity of the game for Boston University. Foley clears out to Borja on the near side. This is Donegan now, back inside to Borja. Trying to get it ahead to O'Hara. O'Hara gets through the defense, but Leanne comes out and picks it up. O'Hara just ran right around Barry Dugan, but Leanne came out and scooped it up.
Leanne came off his line very quickly there, Scott. Made a good decision. I think Dugan was a little bit lax there, letting O'Hara run by him. He should have perhaps tried to shield the ball a little bit better and not let O'Hara run around him.
Well, one possible advantage O'Hara might have in a play like that is that he is still somewhat of an unknown commodity around New England soccer, and they may not have realized the speed that he has.
I guess they haven't been watching enough NESN telecast, Scott, because O'Hara is a very dangerous player.
Here's Borja bringing it back for UConn. Gets it ahead to Fred Carlos. Out to Donegan. And Donegan tries to move it ahead. It goes off of Manilow and back to a Manilow. Manilow now trying to set it up for BU. Back to Ben O'Caro. O'Caro coming down the far side. BU moving very well ahead to a Manilow. Todd D'Alessandro works it back to Tom Foley. And Borja clears it back over the midfield stripe. Boston University head coach Neil Roberts owns 2 straight wins over the University of Connecticut, which in itself is something to brag about.
Well, Scott, we have to see UConn mark this man with the ball right here a little bit tighter. Ben O'Caro, he just made a great run forward, and the UConn forwards let him go. And I'll tell you, if they do that all game, Ben O'Caro will make things happen up front for BU.
Well, you know, I think that maybe UConn would want to play back a little bit on him, but you're right. They're really playing back too far. Maybe 2 or 3 yards just so you can get some reaction time. And as Gary said, another long kick out for Paul Leanne. Cortez heading it back into the BU offensive area, picked up by Churuk for UConn, and kicked all the way back into the area, where Reef picks it up, and he's marked heavily by Micah Manilow, but it's called over the end line off of Manilow, and a goal kick for UConn. And Manilow apparently unhappy with that call. Looked like he had a couple of words for the linesman. Foley with Reef in front of him. If you're just joining us, a bit of an unusual formation for UConn, responding to the 4-4-2 used by Boston University. UConn going with a 4-4 or a 4-3 or 3-4-3. The backs, 3 backs, 4 midfielders, 3 forwards. Boston University again broken up now by Kerry Rudick. And Steve Rammel brings it back for UConn, taken away from him by Lawler. Lawler works it inside. Hey, Gary, we got a number 10 out on the field. What'd you give the jersey back?
I guess so, Scott. I guess they came to my apartment and stole it. I don't know.
Wearing number 10 for Boston University is Mike Bertos, who had been wearing number 13 because Gary Swanson stole his jersey.
Well, I guess that proves I'm innocent, Scott.
We'll make that change on our lineups, and you make it too on yours if you'd like. Mike Bertos wearing number 10, not number 13. Kerry Rudick brings it out for UConn. Canto Lulai unable to keep it in. Well, they say it went off of BU. Donegan tries to get it ahead to Rammel. Rammel in a foot race with Ben O'Caro. And O'Caro got the best of that.
I think UConn is still adjusting to the turf right now, Scott. I believe they only play on turf once in the season, and that's today. So I talked to a few of the players, and they weren't able to practice on turf. So this is very novel to them.
Well, we've talked about this is some of the better turf that you see too, Gary. It's easy on the feet, nice and spongy.
Well, this turf is very soft, but I noticed before the game a lot of the UConn players are wearing grass shoes, which is pretty strange because it's very easy to hurt your knee.
Manilow tried to get it into the area to Bertos, and it was broken up by Reef. And UConn will retain possession on the throw-in or a free kick. Reef back to Carlos. To Todd D'Alessandro. And up to Borja. This is the kind of set Joe Moroni likes to see, but it's taken away from Borja. And lost out of bounds. Borja back with the throw-in. O'Hara loses it again. Very aggressive play so far by Barry Dugan. He is not allowing the Huskies any room to move. Borja will handle the throw-in again.
I think that's how Dugan earned his spot in the starting lineup, by playing very aggressively. He's a hustler, Scott. That he gets the job done by working harder than the next guy.
Well, I'll tell you, if you can just get your body up there against the guy, it gives him something to think about. And another long kick out by Leanne. And cleared out by UConn. Throw in for Lawler. Lawler will try again. Will he go for the same guy, Felbarg? No. Goes further downfield. And taken away from Ben O'Caro. UConn throw it. That's O'Hara losing the ball off his foot. O'Caro picking it up, and O'Hara and O'Caro in a foot race this time. O'Caro maintains possession and loses it out of bounds. Lulai with the throw in down the sideline. He loses it out of bounds. All right, he'll try again. That's Churik on the throw in. No call by the referee. Churik double teamed. Felbarg. Christopher Hagan is number 9. He's a big fella. He was recruited heavily by both of these teams. Boston University, 1 out. Throw into Donegan and kicked away by Mike Emanilow. All the way back to Leanne. Well, this time Leanne with another long kick. Headed by Verhagen. Loses possession at midfield to Churik. Churik out to the wing to Rammel. Rammel back to Lulai. Ahead for Donegan. It's picked up by Ben O'Caro. O'Caro gets it back to Verhagen. Or that was Lawler, excuse me. And Lawler now tied up with Rammel. Lawler kicks it away from Rammel. Back to Fred Carlos. Carlos tries to kick it in, but it comes off Verhagen. Now the Huskies will set up again. This is D'Alessandro. D'Alessandro in deep. He loses it out of bounds. Boston University throw in. Robert Buckmeyer.
I'll tell you, Scott, that was a nice effort by Carlos. This is a very narrow field. I believe it's 10 to 15 yards narrower than what the Huskies are accustomed to. So whenever they're had to have the opportunity to shot, they have to shoot the ball.
What does a narrow field do to a team's play, Gary?
Well, Scott, UConn likes to play the ball very wide. They like to utilize the flanks. They like to utilize Dan Donegan and Rammel outside especially. So now it's much easier for teams to cover. For example, if Donegan has a one-on-one on the wing back, Ben O'Caro can come over very easily and help the back. So it's almost a one-on-two. There's a lot less space on this field. It's much more difficult for the forwards, much easier for the backs.
Lawler tries to throw in. It's headed off with UConn. Lawler will try again. Lawler to Bertos. Bertos trying to work around D'Alessandro. D'Alessandro kicks it out. BU retains possession. Emanilow into Bertos. Bertos trying to cut into the area. He's marked by D'Alessandro. It goes out over the end line off Bertos. Goal kick for Tom Foley. Gary Rudick sets it down the sideline for UConn to Dan Donegan. Donegan, a quick hitter back to Carlos. Carlos across to D'Alessandro. Intercepted by Emanilow. Boston University trying to come back. Lulai takes it away, and Lawler kicks it in for BU. And a takedown called on Gary Rudick. George Zapata trying to break into the ball. Rudick took him down. And we'll get a free kick for the Terriers.
Even though this is very far, we see O'Caro and Emanilow looking a little give and go here.
And Emanilow gives it out to O'Caro. Trying back to Emanilow. Emanilow trying to turn the corner, and he gets it by Rudick, but it's picked up by Wayne Churik. Zapata fighting with Churik, and it's kicked out by Kerry Rudick. Getting ready to come into the lineup for the University of Connecticut. Mike Tunson in the foreground. He had been a starter up until the game against San Francisco earlier. As the Terriers, Tony Lawler tries to get it into the area. Unsuccessfully, Lulai puts it back the other way. Lawler picks it up. Emanilow comes in and takes it right off Lawler's foot to Zapata. Zapata tries to turn in on the ball. He's unable to. It's picked up by Foley.
Well, right now, Scott, I think UConn is giving much too much room to Ben O'Caro and Mike Emanilow, BU's most dangerous players.
Fred Carlos now to D'Alessandro. And D'Alessandro passes it behind Steve Rammel. It'll come back the other way. Tony Lawler will go out to handle the throw-in. Mix up between Lawler and Verhagen. Lawler with the throw-in. And we'll have a call on Todd D'Alessandro on that play. Well, the referee obviously made the call on George Zapata. Bodies flying. Zapata got the call, and here comes Zapata down the far side. Now he's got Bertos breaking up the middle, tries to get it to him. Bertos picked up right there by Borja. Bertos maintains possession. Borja cuts in front of him, takes the ball away, and slips it out to Donegan on the near side. Kerry Rudick now trying to settle things down. He'll pass it back to Foley. Long clear by Foley, out to Kevin O'Hara.
There's an example of the narrow field right there, Scott. On a wider field, O'Hara would have had much more time to make a pass. There, the BU defender was all over him in less than 2 or 3 seconds.
And BU really marking very tightly here tonight. Donegan clears it out to Borja. Borja tries to get it ahead to O'Hara, but it's cleared away. Picked up by Mike Emanilo. Emanilo to Bertos. Back to Verhagen. And Verhagen gets a bad boot off of his foot. Rammel picks it up. He's marked out by Lawler, but Rammel will get the throw in for UConn. Long throw in looking for Lulai. Lulai gets tangled up with Benacaro, and they say it's BU's ball. On the free kick for Lawler. Nobody home for that one. Chris Reef pulls it down behind Zapata. Reef down the sideline to Lulai. Lulai back to Reef and back to Lulai. Just keeping it in. Reef now being marked heavily, and he kicks the ball back into the area. It's kept in by Foley. And that was Rudick losing the ball out of bounds. Boston University on the throw-in. And another throw-in as Chris Reef misplays the ball. In the area to Emanilo, behind a sprawled Carlos. Emanilo trying to get by Rudick. The clear in front, Foley running after the ball, trying to pull his own defender away, D'Alessandro. Foley picks it up.
Foley made not a very good decision there, Scott. He came off his line and didn't get the ball. We saw Lulai score a goal against BC in a similar occasion where the BC goalie came out and didn't get the ball. If Bertos was out a little deeper and made his run in, he could have headed the ball into the empty net.
And at that point, it looked like D'Alessandro might have the beat on the ball, so Foley might have been better off to let him play it and stay home. This is Rammel trying to get it ahead, and he does to Donegan. Back to Rammel. Picked up by O'Hara in front, cleared out by Buckmeyer. Here's O'Hara again, and it's cleared away by Barry Dugan. D'Alessandro and Zapata locked up going for a header, and we have D'Alessandro on a hold. Free kick BU. Benacaro trying to get it ahead to Bertos. And we're going to have
penalty kick, Scott.
A penalty kick.
Vincent Morrow's called a handball in the box for a penalty kick.
Wow, it was in the area. There's no question about it. And I'll tell you, I did not. I'm not saying that there wasn't a handball. I just didn't catch it. We've seen Vincent Morrow before, and he has been an outstanding referee. He even drew praise from Joe Maroney after the game he worked at the University of Connecticut.
Which isn't easy to do at Stores.
That's telling you that the guy works a good game.
I believe we'll have Mike Emanilo taking the penalty kick. He was very calm at these kicks, Scott. What we'll see Emanilo do, he'll sprint at the ball, slow down to a jog, and then accelerate again, try to fool the goalkeeper.
And I believe this is the first penalty kick that Tom Foley has faced in his college career. Not to say, of course, that he hasn't in practice against some pretty good shooters, but this is a game situation. Amanolo comes in and scores. He had Foley going the wrong way, and Boston University takes the first lead, 1-0. And just a reminder again that we do not have a scoreboard clock working tonight.
Mike, here's Mike Amanolo, very, very poised player. Very calmly comes up and places the ball into the side of the net. Notice, Scott, how he used the inside of his foot. He's only 12 yards away. He knows he doesn't have to blast the ball. He knows he just has to fool the goalkeeper. Just place the ball in the corner of the net, which he did.
What do you think it was that Amanolo might have done that had Foley going to his left while Amanolo was shooting to his right?
Well, Mike opened his hips up pretty early, so I think that made Foley dive to the left. Perhaps one of the UConn players saw Amanolo take a kick before, and perhaps they thought Amanolo was going to go the other way.
And the score, Mike Amanolo on a penalty kick, 18 minutes into the game, 1-0 Boston University.
Actually, Scott, I believe when we played UConn 2 years ago, Amanolo took a penalty kick in the playoffs, and he went to the goalkeeper's left. So perhaps Foley did his homework and thought Amanolo would go that way.
Well, you know, that's a pretty good note. You know, when you scout the players, and you go over a player like that with a goalkeeper, you might say, this guy tends to go to his left. BU with the goal kick. This is Lawler. Headed out in the crowd. Ocaro keeps it away from Canto Lulai. Headed back by D'Alessandro. Dugan gets it back to his keeper. Boston University 1, UConn 0. We have 26 minutes left to play here in the first half. This is Wayne Churick, one of the new starters. Churick tied up with Cortez. And we're going to get a call. It goes UConn's way on the free kick. Ahead to Reef, and he's taken down from behind. Again, George Zapata playing a very aggressive style of game tonight. Fred Carlos out to Donegan, again trying to work Donegan out on the wing. But as Gary has mentioned, Donovan doesn't have the kind of room he likes to work with out there because they're playing on the narrow field. Reef puts it up in front. He's got big Brian Parker, but it's taken away by Luis Cortez and cleared back to Leanne.
I'll tell you, Scott, I can hear Neil Roberts screaming way up here. He does not like what he sees. BU scored a goal, and now they're falling back on their heels. They're not playing. They have to keep attacking. If they keep falling back like this, we'll see UConn equalize very soon.
Well, UConn will get a chance to come back now on a throw-in. Ian Gruno, the freshman in the game for UConn, and now they say the throw-in goes the other way, so Lawler will trigger the action. Here's Amanolo. Amanolo trying to work around the corner. He gets it in, but Bertos is taken off the ball by Rammel. This is Lulai. Lulai kicks it off Zapata, and it's picked up by Amanolo. Amanolo wrapped up with Gruno. Amanolo loses it out. Bruno ahead to Parker, and Parker in a collision with Ocaro. And it'll be UConn ball again. Again, it'll be the freshman Bruno. To Donegan. And cleared away by Lawler, taken down by Bertos as we have a whistle.
I'll tell you, that's just lazy play there on Burroughs' part, Scott. The ball was downfield for a good while there, and Burroughs was just lazy. UConn defense pushing up very good, and Burroughs has to run with the last few defensive guys so he won't be in an offsides position.
Well, UConn trying to get something going now as they trail 1-0 midway through the second half, or through the first half. This is Wayne Churick trying to control the ball, but he loses it. Bertos tries to bring it back. Now Zapata to Verhagen. Verhagen goes wide and puts it into the area where Dugan heads it back, but weakly, and Foley picks it up. Mike Tunson in the game for UConn now. To Brian Parker. D'Alessandro taken off the ball by Amanolo. Nice tricky foot by Lulai. Wayne Churik gets around Bertos. Feeds it back to Kerry Rudick. Rudick tries to get it to Parker, but gets a deflection off the head of Barry Dugan. And Reef tries to control it now. Reef looking for Tunson. It's taken off by Cortez. Back to Amanilo. Amanilo to Dugan. Dugan marked by Lulai, but he manages to get the ball ahead. Number 4 in the game for Boston University is Chris Brumbaugh.
Brumbaugh's a freshman from Baldwin, Missouri.
Boy, there's a real hotbed of soccer. More subs standing by, ready to come into the game for UConn. In the foreground is Steve Rammel. In the middle, Diego Borja. And in back there, Kevin O'Hara. This is Kerry Rudick to Mike Tunson. Back to Rudick. Oh, no, this is Reef. Donegan. Going for the control game to Wayne Churik. Brian Parker, one of the freshmen that has performed so well for UConn this year. Parker with the ball, trying to get into the areas, taken off it by Cortez. Nice play by Cortez, and Buckmeyer clears it away, but out of bounds. So UConn will get an opportunity to come back. Well, there's the clock. That's the unofficial clock on the sideline. And you can see that we have just about 25 minutes left in the first half. Boston University leading 1-0. We mentioned earlier we have no scoreboard clock in operation tonight. So every once in a while we'll check in with the sideline. Joe Maroney calling for a card or something on the far side. Verhagen, and he's picked up almost immediately by Parker, but Verhagen maintains control and kicks it way out of bounds into the stands. Really, Gary, since scoring the goal, BU has been unable to get it back over onto their side of midfield.
I think what I stated earlier, Scott, they're falling back on their heels. They're becoming too defensive. I think they're too content right now with winning 1-0, but I really feel that one goal will not win this game. I think they're going to need at least 1 or 2 more.
Well, here comes Brian Parker, and again Cortez gets in the way of the pass and clears it all the way back to Leanne. Another long clear, looking for Bertos on the header. Bertos gets it back toward the goal, but Tunson heads it back to Donegan. Donegan marked closely by Amanilo, tries to put it through his legs. Amanilo quickly turns around and takes the ball. Donegan pushes it away again, and Amanilo gets by Tunson to clear it back to Leanne. Brumbaugh now with the ball. Trying to get ahead, and we have a hold on Mike Tunson in front. Well, I'm not going to second guess the referee.
There's Marcus DeRosiers. He's a senior from Hyde Park, Massachusetts, getting ready to check into the game.
And of course, you cannot substitute in this game until the ball goes over the end line, or if somebody scores a goal. And of course, there's the old injury route. Headed back by Rudick out to Ian Gruno. Gruno tries to kick it, but he's going to lose it way out of bounds over everything. Boston University now gets a chance to play in their own offensive end until Brumbaugh loses the ball out of bounds. And UConn comes back. Long throw downfield. Picked up by Robert Buckmeyer for BU.
Bad communication there by the Huskies. Foley threw the ball to Parker, who wasn't even looking.
Here comes Buckmeyer. Buckmeyer trying to come down left side and cross it to the right. Foley lets it go out. Now we'll have the substitutions, the players we pointed out to you earlier on the sideline coming in. Leaving the game for UConn right now. Donegan coming off, Lulai coming off. Wayne Churick coming off. Well, now they have 4 players coming off. Fred Carlos, somebody's going to have to stay. Donegan stays. Just leaving the game for Boston University, Barry Dugan. Here's Mike Tunson near side. Tunson tries to get it across to Rammel, taken away by Bertos. Mike Imanolo gets it around Borja. Back to Cortez. Parker looking for the pickup.
Here's Derek DaCosta. He's a senior from Newark, New Jersey. Just checked into the game.
Mike Bertos wearing number 10 to Verhagen. Verhagen showing some good skill movement with the foot. Back to Cortez. And O'Caro starts it ahead again. Looking for Imanolo down the far side. It goes by him and all the way back to Foley. UConn gets a throw in. Rammel to Donegan. Brian Parker. DeRozier on the mark. And losing it out of bounds. UConn gets another opportunity close to goal. On the throw-in.
Well, I believe Vincent Morris called a foul.
A free kick. And way over everything. Boston University has won the last 2 outings between these 2 teams. Last year, 2-0 at Willowbrook Park in New Britain. Series between these 2 schools began in 1951. UConn leads the series 24-5. But the last 2 years has been a different story.
It's a little bit of domination there, Scott.
Then they recruited this guy, Gary Swanson, and things turned around a little bit. Kevin O'Hara taken off the ball by Robert Buckmeyer. Buckmeyer back to Imanolo. BU really starting to pick up the pace again. Imanolo clears it back. Leanne picks it up.
As I said in the pregame show, Leanne was named to the all-tournament team along with Ben Okoro and Mike Imanolo at the Mayor's Cup tournament in Oneonta, New York. And Okoro was named defensive MVP.
Here's Donegan at midfield, and it's taken away from him by Brumbaugh. Shots on goal at this point. UConn 1, BU 2. BU leading 1-0 with a clear back to Foley by Rudick.
So far, Scott, most of the action we've seen is in the midfield. It's been a midfield battle, not much action in either end. So it's very important to win the 50-50 balls. What I mean by that is the balls that are played in the air are, not directly passed to one of your teammates.
Here's Kevin O'Hara being taken off the ball. BU awarded the throw-in. It'll be, no, now they say go the other way. O'Hara gets the throw-in. He's looking for Donegan. Donegan has Cortez beat. Donegan getting into the area, looking for somebody inside. Nobody there. He manages to maintain possession, looks for O'Hara, and it goes cleared away to Tunson. Tunson picked up immediately by DeRozier. DeRozier covering him very closely.
That was a nice effort there by Donegan, who, for the first time in the game, found some space and looked very dangerous, Scott.
Carlos, Churick, and Lulai standing on the UConn sideline waiting to come in. You can hear Joe Maroney in the background. I can't believe who just walked into our booth. Who is that masked man? Is that Will McDonough's kid? I'll be darned. Here comes Imanolo back for BU. Okay, the throw-in belongs to UConn. Borja doing the honors. Back to Foley. Foley now setting up his formation in front of him. The Huskies move downfield. Foley with a long kick. That was Parker looking for the head at midfield. It's taken away by Boston University. Manilow kicking it ahead. Nobody home except out of bounds. Mike Tunson now will trigger the action. Todd D'Alessandro will try to get something going down the far side to Donegan. Donegan overruns the ball. Brumbaugh brings it back for BU. Picked up by Ian Gruno. Gruno now trying to get it going UConn's way. Gets it ahead. That's Parker with the ball, and he's taken down from behind. Very close marking by DeRozier since he came into the game, and that time it cost him a card as he takes Brian Parker down from behind.
Well, Scott, BU's trying to mark very tightly. Parker here with the ball. DeRozier's going to come from behind and stick his leg in and draw the yellow card. I really don't think that was a yellow card infraction there, Scott. He didn't really take him down very hard. It was a trip from behind, so Vincent Morrow felt it warranted a yellow card, though.
Well, it looked like he caught a leg in there and also pushed him a little bit from behind. Yellow card issued to DeRozier. Into the area, the setup. That's Rammel trying to get up on it. Zapata clearing it away for BU. D'Alessandro picks it up. And an infraction against UConn. Free kick for Boston University. Luis Cortez trying to set up the short kick to O'Caro. Settles for Buckmeyer. This is Cortez quarterbacking. Back to Paul Leanne.
Cortez says, hey, nothing's on. I'll pass back to my goalie, Paul Leanne. We'll maintain possession of the ball. UConn can't score if we have it.
And we have a 1-0 lead. And the hold called on Bertos on that play.
Referee Vincent Morrow is keeping very tight control of this game. He doesn't want to see it get out of hand at all.
Cortez loses it out of bounds. Churik with the throw-in. Churik gives up the throw-in to Borja. Through the legs, Rammel going through Buckmeyer's legs, looking ahead for O'Hara, picked up by Buckmeyer. And Manilow follows the ball back to Leand, with the ever-present, ever-dangerous Dan Donegan breaking in to Leand's right. Another long kick. This one goes out. That's DeRozier, who just received the yellow card, number 17 on the right of your screen. Number 18 is Barry Dugan, standing on the sideline, waiting to come in for Boston University. This is O'Hara to Donegan. Donegan controls it with his knee, gets it down to his foot, and loses it to Brumbaugh. Brumbaugh to Bertos. Bertos back to Manilow. Rammel trying to check Manilow. Manilow turns and gets away. Now he'll try to go around O'Hara, and he does. And he tries to feed it into the area. Reef picks it up, comes back. He's looking for somebody. He's got Donegan to his left, Rammel to his right.
That's a nice effort there by Manilow, but I think he'd be better advised to take the ball outside. UConn had about 6 or 7 defenders standing in the middle of the field. BU's got to get the ball out wide and cross the ball in. There's too many defenders in the middle of the field.
Well, BU has the throw-in now. Fred Carlos and Canto Lulai waiting to come back into the game for UConn. The action pretty chippy here tonight. This is Bertos. Borja now takes it away for UConn and comes back. Kerry Rudick ahead to Brian Parker. Parker unable to get around Verhagen, and now he loses it out of bounds. Buckmeyer looking for someone to throw it to. And he finds Bertos. Borja gets it to Parker, though. And they go back to the sweeper Reef to try to set it up. Out to the wing to D'Alessandro. D'Alessandro ahead, and Ian Gruno loses it out of bounds. Hey, that's a pretty young fan. Getting into soccer early in life, the sport of the 90s. BU trying to set something up in the area. Mike Bertos unable to get a foot on the ball. It was fed in by Verhagen. Now Verhagen out wide again, trying to turn the corner. He loses the ball over the end line. Goal kick for UConn.
Verhagen showing some very nice moves there for a freshman. I think he's a bit of an ankle injury. I think it slowed him down there a little bit on the turn. Otherwise, he would have been able to get the cross into a very dangerous area.
Verhagen with great size, really, and he uses it very well. 6'1", 175 pounds. Pretty big for a soccer player. Here's Diego Borja. O'Hara and Buckmeyer clears it back, looking for Zapata, headed away. Imanolo now, back to Buckmeyer again, looking for Imanolo again, picked up by Fred Carlos. Carlos trying to get it to Lulai. He overshoots Lulai and O'Hara. Coming out wide, Buckmeyer brings it back for BU. Picked up by Reef, and he brings it back across midfield. Reef coming in deep, trying for Carlos. Carlos off the back of his legs. And back the other way, Dugan. Ahead for DeRosiers.
Referee Vincent Morrow called them offsides. Very smart play by the UConn defense there. They saw they let DeRosiers run. He was going to be offside, so they just let him run. Linesman raised his flag, and DeRosiers was offsides.
Keeping Ramel from getting to the ball was Ben O'Caro. It looks like Ramel took a little shot in the nose on that play. Reef will trigger it for UConn. Looking for Donegan in front. Headed away by O'Caro. Imanolo goes outside to pick it up, and he loses it out of bounds. Boston University 1, UConn nothing. We are in the later stages of the first half. Again, we have no scoreboard clock.
Once again, we saw how great a player Mike Imanolo is. Despite he had a lot of pressure on his back, but he still had the presence of mind to knock the ball back to Paul Leanne.
Well, you could see we had just about 8 minutes left in the first half with BU leading 1-0. Donegan trying to work his way into the BU area, unable to. Imanolo takes possession, and again he clears it back to Leanne. This time, though, Lulai was breaking in, and there was a little bit more pressure. And another long kick out by Leanne. And a warning to Barry Dugan, who has been playing a very aggressive game. Here's Wayne Churick. Churick to Carlos. Carlos in on goal, shoots it wide. Carlos just turned and got what he could of his right foot on that ball and put it wide right. Mike Bertos back into the lineup for Boston University.
That was a good try there by Carlos Scott. They really haven't even tested goalie Paul Leanne tonight. UConn needs to generate some more shots.
Put a couple of balls up there. Give him something to think about. Make him work a little bit. Kerry Rudick clearing it back to Tom Foley. Boy, if this stays 1-0 at the half, I sure would love to be a fly on the wall in both locker rooms at halftime. Cortez heads it away from Donegan. Dugan gets it out to the midfield where it's picked up by Wayne Churick. Churick clears it back to Reef. Reef trying to penetrate now. Gets it ahead to Lulai. Back to Carlos. Carlos tries to get it ahead. He does to Reef. Reef taken down by Cortez. Cortez on the call. And we'll have a free kick for UConn, and this will set up the fence.
That was not a very smart play there by Cortez, following, I believe, Reef right outside the penalty box. This is where Lulai and Dan Donegan both excel for UConn.
What do you think he's going to do? Draw the arc for me, Gary.
I think Lulai's, I guess Dan Donegan's going to take this one, but I thought Lulai would try it. I think Lulai's going to try and swerve the ball around the wall to beat goalie Paul Leanne.
Referee Vincent Morrow checking to make sure that wall is legal.
I think he's going to swerve it around the UConn players in the wall. He's going to try and swerve it to that side. Or Donegan will. Well, he tried and missed.
Well, it gets through very weakly. It would have gone wide, but picked up by Paul Leanne. Donegan did that time what you said you like to do. Go for the heads.
I'll tell you, Scott, if the guy moves, it's a goal. If not, he'll be sore for quite some time.
That's called aggressive play. This is Carlos at midfield for Kevin O'Hara. O'Hara trying to get around Buckmeyer, who takes the ball away and loses it out of bounds, but it went off Donegan, so Buckmeyer will get the throw in. And that will go off of Carlos. It'll be BU throw in again. And again, it'll be Buckmeyer. Ahead to Amanilo. Amanilo will try to cut into the area. He shoots it from the far left. Foley picks it up. And he picked it up with Bertos breaking right in on his face. We have about 5 minutes to play in the first half. Boston University 1, UConn nothing. And another BU throw in. This is Verhagen. He's going to try to put it up in front. Nobody home. Bertos trying to keep it from going out wide. He can't. UConn will throw it back.
Verhagen had Bertos streaking down the middle, wide open there. It's too bad for BU that he didn't spot him. It could have been very dangerous for goalie Tom Foley if he did.
Well, when he chipped that ball from this angle, it looked like it might have a chance of coming down in front of the goal, which would have been a lot of trouble for Foley.
Well, Scott, as I said, I like the driven balls, where the player just has to redirect the ball to the goal.
Zapata, he's taken off the ball by Reef, and he takes Reef down. And a look at the clock with 3.5 minutes to play here in the first half. UConn trying to get it even before halftime. 1-0 BU. Barry Dugan heads it back. Carlos kicks it back to the UConn's offensive end, where Canto Lulai picks it up and feeds it back to Wayne Churek. Churek really taking a lot of time with the ball. He should have cleared it to Ramel. Lulai picks it up now. Nobody able to gain control. Here's Ramel. He gets it to Diego Borja. Ramel ahead to himself. Ramel looking to get into the area. He's taken down, and we get a call. And the call will come just outside the area. A lot of argument by Mike Amanilo now, and a yellow card. And Amanilo still arguing. A lot.
That's one. Here we see the play. Churek with the ball. It's Verhagen marking him tightly. Gaffney comes in. Felbar comes in for a tough tackle. There's Lulai with the ball. Very tough play going out there. Felbar trying to clear the ball. Lost his shoe. Finally, Ramel gets the ball. Dugan slides after him. Gaffney comes into him. And here we'll see the foul right here.
And on the free kick, Lulai gets a great shot off a feed from Donegan, but Leanne comes out and dives to make the save. Great shot by Lulai, a short feed on the free kick from Donegan. And BU will try to come back now.
As I was saying before, Scott, that's one bad trait of Mike Amanilo. I think Neil Roberts grimaces when he sees Amanilo yelling at the referee. He's got to learn to control his emotions. He's a leader on the team this year. He can't be getting the yellow cards. Because if he gets 3, he has to sit out a game.
Okay, Amanilo now with the throw in ahead to Dugan. Dugan tries to kick it into the area in front of Bertos. Bertos taken off the play by Kerry Rudick, and the ball goes wide.
It's a great move by Dugan there. He juggled the ball over the UConn defender. Got a very nice cross in. Bertos just missed the header.
Now we have a little discussion going on with Mike Bertos. Bertos apparently complaining about that play by Rudick. Rudick holding his ground in front of Bertos and not letting him get in to get a clean head on the ball. But a nice feed by Dugan. So both teams very quickly had opportunities here back to back. Neither team wanting to let the tempo get away. 1-0 Boston University as we are down into the final minute of play, I believe, here in the first half. Again, no scoreboard clock. This is Wayne Churek for UConn. It's taken away by Verhagen. Verhagen with long strides and a long kick in on Foley. Foley stays in front of it and wraps it up.
Nice move there by Verhagen. He kept the ball nice and low on the shot, Scott, trying to skip it off the turf, thinking that Tom Foley might have some trouble with it since he doesn't plan it that often.
On the outside, Bertos trying to cut down the right wing and get it in, but he's taken off by Rudick, and we'll have a corner. Corner for Boston University as Joe Maroney calls for a substitution. Steve Ramel coming into the game. He'll probably replace Canto Lulai. That'll be the situation. The corner kick for Boston University. Up in front and a header off the head of Bertos right back to Tom Foley. Foley goes up and pulls it down. That was a nice kick executed by Greg Felbarg as he put it up in very dangerous position in front of the goal, and he got the right man, too.
That was a nice set piece by the U. Felbarg was trying to get the ball to the far post where goalie Tom Foley wouldn't be able to get it. And when Bertos was trying to head the ball down into a dangerous area.
And there we have the call for the end of the first half. The University of Connecticut Huskies and the Boston University Terriers have played one half. Boston University leading 1-0. Let's take one more look at that kick, Gary.
Felbarg with a very nice cross to the far post where goalie Tom Foley can't get to. Bertos tried to head the ball back down into Zapata and Felbarg, but Foley made a nice save.
That was a nice play all the way around and a nice save by Tom Foley. The one goal in this game coming on a free kick or on a penalty kick by Mike Manilow at 18 minutes of the first half. And Boston University with a 1-0 lead. And we'll be back to take a look at some of the first half highlights and some of the statistics right after these messages.
When the sun's real hot, a day of hard work seems to last a week.
With you boys, it's only 102.
Bush. Head for the beer brewed natural as a mountain stream.
Head for the mountains of Bush beer.
Your New England Ford dealers want to give you something special for making them #1. Yeah, they consider it flowers, but some have allergies. Trips to Hawaii, some hate the heat. Priceless art? Nah. So instead, they're giving great year-end deals on the Ford Escort. This is the most loved car in the world. And the 88 Festiva starting under $6,000 with a 6-year, 60,000-mile warranty. Enjoy.
Take the plunge with Divers Down.
The new season starts on NESN October 3rd.
Don't win nothing for practice. Don't win nothing if you don't.
All right, let's have it.
After a long day of hard knocks,
That's right.
yeah, head for the beer that goes down smooth as a mountain stream. Bush.
Here, this one don't buck so hard.
Head for the mountains of Bush beer.
We're back at Nickerson Field, and we are all set for second half action as Wayne Churick and Kevin O'Hara get set to trigger things for UConn. Boston University leading 1-0, and we're underway in the second half. Churick tries to feed it back to Ramel. Ramel with a little jump, feeds it into the area, or into the offensive end for UConn, but here comes Mike Manilow, the scorer for Boston University, carrying it in all the way, taken away by Reef and picked up by Borja. Borja ahead for Ramel. He's pushed by George Zapata. I think Zapata getting called over for a card.
I think Vincent Morrow seen one too many fouls by Zapata tonight, so decided to issue him a yellow card.
And there's Neil Roberts looking a little disgusted as he looks on. George Zapata has played a very aggressive game tonight. Vincent Morrow apparently feeling it has been too aggressive, and he serves quick notice right off the bat in the second half. Zapata with a yellow card.
Well, it's good to play hard, Scott, but there's a difference between playing hard and playing dirty. I think BU has to stay playing hard, but they have to stay away from the dirty fouls where they're going to draw the yellow cards.
Here comes Mike Manilow down the near sideline. Gets it ahead, looking for Verhagen. It's picked up by Bertos. Bertos and Zapata get mixed up, and it comes back to Manilow. This is Barry Dugan now, and he takes Churek down, I think. No, that was Borja he took down. No call. Shot on goal. On D'Alessandro. Ahead for UConn. Sean, is this the first soccer game you've been to this year?
Yes, but thanks to you two fine gentlemen, I've had a chance to watch several of them. I'm really impressed with how quickly BU has come together as a team. I think it's a real credit to Neil and Fran Roberts how fast this young team with so many new faces has blended together to play at this level. And they must have played extremely well over the weekend to have those two results that they had up in Oneonta.
Well, you know, we saw them against the University of Massachusetts, and UMass comes with some players this year, but BU could have won that game. It was 1-0 until they were trying to scramble to tie it up, and then UMass came up with the second goal to put it away. Here's D'Alessandro trying to work it down the sideline. Kicked out by Tony Lawler. D'Alessandro with the throw-in. Back to Reef. And back to D'Alessandro. Lawler comes out to pick him up. D'Alessandro tries to put it in front. And he gets it over the head of Fred Carlos, but a kick by Borja is over everything.
I think that's the point that Gary made in the first half, and he was right on. UConn just needs to take more shots. They haven't really had any testing opportunities at all at Paul Leanne. With the legs on some of these guys, they should be rifling at every chance they have.
Well, I'm sure as the clock starts to tick down, we'll see them become more and more aggressive. Here's Dan Donegan, one of the guys that's going to have to trigger something for UConn. He sets up a lot of the action for them. Steve Rammel losing it. This is Verhagen, long strides downfield. Bertos tries to kick it in, but it goes off Kerry Rudick, and it's picked up by Chris Reeve.
Scott, I think Mike Bertos should have taken the defender Rudick there one-on-one. Neil, I could hear Neil Roberts yelling, take him, take him. He wants his players to take the UConn players on 1 versus 1 and then get the shot on goal.
And Verhagen kicks it back for Boston University. Zapata into Bertos, back to Zapata, picked up by Reef. Reef brings it out. And Reef puts it through the legs of Cortez, can't connect with Donegan. Buckmeyer brings it back.
Once again, Scott, both teams too much middle. That's where the center of the defense is. They're not going to get anything there. They need to get the ball out to the wings. This feels very narrow, as I said before. If you go down the middle, you won't get anywhere.
And Zapata called for another push. And right now, he's in a situation where he is not going to get away with a thing. Kevin O'Hara for UConn gets it ahead, but Luis Cortez works it back for BU. Diego Borja trying to control for the Huskies, unable to do so. Here's Mike Bertos. And Bertos loses it to Churek. Canto Lulai now. And Lulai ran right into Robert Buckmeyer when he was trying to get it ahead to Donegan. Donegan has the ball now. He's marked heavily by Dugan. Buckmeyer picks him up now. Trying to go around Buckmeyer is Donegan. It goes out. And it will be a throw-in for UConn.
Very nice move there by Dan Donegan. Avoided Dugan's slide tackle. Tried to beat Buckmeyer. Buckmeyer made a very nice offensive play and a dangerous forward.
This is Chris Reeve with the ball. And he works it up toward the area where it goes all the way through to Paul Leanne. Leanne with a short feed out to Luis Cortez. He'll pick it up, probably kick it now. Here's Dan Donegan picking it up on the right side and firing left, and Leanne goes up and tips it over the net. Nice play by Leanne, getting up and getting a hand on the ball. A good shot by Donegan as he flew down the right side and tried to cross it left post. Leanne just tips it over the net.
That was good angle play there by Leanne, Scott. He came out, cut Donegan's angle down. Donegan was still able to get a nice hard shot on goal, which Leanne deflected wide.
And now Donegan will try the setup of the goal kick, or the corner kick. He's got O'Hara in front, and he goes outside for Parker. Parker tries to head it into O'Hara.
Here's Dan Donegan with the ball. BU's giving him too much space. He's dangerous. It's a nice shot on goal, which Leanne tips wide.
And now goal kick for Boston University. Tony Lawler.
Tony's a senior from Dublin, Ireland.
Headed back into the area by Rammel, and Lawler works it into Leanne. O'Hara charging.
I think Tony should look where the keeper is before he blindly sends the ball back when he's the last man back there on defense, Gary.
Yeah, well, it's a bit of lack of communication there by the two. Leanne should have told Lawler he was coming out. And Lawler should have said, Paul, I'm knocking the ball back to you.
Ryan Parker just went up and over Robert Buckmeyer, and they call Buckmeyer for the infraction. And a little pushing in back by Parker now. Parker's starting to play aggressively. Here's Kerry Rudick, and coming in and stripping in the ball is Zapata. Zapata called for the offside.
I think they called him for a handball there, Scott.
Yeah, so that was the call. The referee indicated it was a handball, and I think it was a good call. The ball bounced up in his lap, and he couldn't get his hand out of the way.
We saw a big clearing pass there by Benacurro. When you're in the back there and you don't have anything to do, you got to just get the ball out. When in doubt, kick it out. And Zapata really made something out of nothing there with his hustle.
Okay, tie up at midfield. It'll go to the Huskies on the free kick. Shurik over to Reef. Reef looking for Carlos. Carlos gets by Cortez, but unable to get by Lawler. UConn will get the restart. And some pushing going on between Carlos and Verhagen. The kick for Rammel. Up over to Donegan. Donegan goes up with Leanne.
Offside.
And he's called for the offside.
Got a player down. Tony Lawler seems to be injured. He's an injury-prone player. He got his leg broken 2 years ago and was injured his Achilles tendon last year.
Looks like he's favoring the tendon.
Here's Rammel with a kick. Leanne and Donegan are going to go up and collide, but Vincent Morrow did not call a foul on that. He whistled Dan Donegan for offsides. He broke too early, was offsides.
Didn't see where Lawler got hurt on that replay. Didn't look like he was around the net right there.
I think Lawler got injured on the foul that Vincent Morrow whistled before that.
Gary, are you surprised? I think you, being around BU, knows how good Paul Leand is, but we really haven't had a chance to see him play the past couple of years. Do you think he's surprising people with how well he's played so far in the early games, or has he always just been this good and didn't have a chance to show it?
I think Paul Leand has been this good. He hasn't had a chance to show it. He had John Moe in front of him, an all-New England goalkeeper. Not only has he surprised the New England coaches, but he's also surprised Fran Roberts and Neil Roberts, who are very pleased with Paul's play.
Well, walking off the field, Tony Lawler, and he looks to be very tender around the right ankle. Now we'll have a goal kick for Leand to resume action.
Got to give a lot of credit to Paul Leand's success to John Moe, though. He came in as a freshman with not much goalie training, and John Moe really worked with Leand and taught him a lot.
Buckmeyer with the long kick out. D'Alessandro tries to get it back to Rammel. Rammel puts it up in the air. And BU gets the free kick. UConn gets the free kick. That's the way I thought it should go.
You were right as usual, Scott.
Let's go, Billy!
Hey, thanks, Sean. Who invited you up here anyway?
No, I'm serious. You're right on the money.
Todd D'Alessandro, back to Chris Reeve. Zapata again playing aggressively, but Reeve picks up the ball. Shurik. And the Huskies start downfield out to Borja. Weak pass to Borja. Donegan picks it up now. Far side, tries to go back ahead to Borja. Here's O'Hara dropping it off his chest to Borja. Borja into the area, looking for Brian Parker, who's taken down by Luis Cortez.
For the last day of the work week, well, this weather system moves a little bit towards the east. Texas looks like you're in for a soaking, but temperatures cooling off into this area. weather system. So for the next 3, 4, maybe even 5 days, you're looking at that soggy weather. For the except for tonight in sections of Wyoming, you might see a little bit of frost there, except for the southeastern corner, and temperatures much cooler all the way down through sections of New Mexico. Now,
you got a smile for Daddy? Oh, we got something new for you today. See? Apple.
Corey? Thomas? Thomas! Corey!
No diet in the world will help you lose weight until you do one thing: control your appetite.
I struggled to lose weight for a year. Then I took Dexatrim. Now the weight's gone, and I'm the size I want to be.
Dexatrim is amazing. I lost the weight I wanted without being hungry.
Dexatrim. You can't buy a stronger appetite control formula without a prescription. Just one capsule works all day to help you lose weight.
You lose weight and you're not your door, and you're going to be able to...
It's a doorknob and a deadbolt.
Nervous at all? You have to know what you want to do before you approach the ball, Scott. Just get it in your mind what corner you want to shoot. You shouldn't have much trouble. You should make 9 out of 10.
And we're back to even. We should mention... Well, we'll mention in a moment as Parker tries to keep it in and fails to do so. We should mention that the polls released this week, the National College Soccer Poll, has UConn ranked in the top 20 for the first time in over a year. The Huskies ranked 18th in the nation, tied with Duke for that position. The scoring on the penalty kick by Donegan, it came at 8:25 of the second half, and that made the score 1-1. We have a UConn player down in the corner. That's Brian Parker. His trainer, Ralph Mansell, comes out to take a look at him. Parker apparently pulled something trying to keep the ball in bounds. As I was mentioning, UConn ranked 18th in the nation this year, or this week, and now ranked second in New England behind Harvard as play resumes off the kick by Leanne. Boston University is ranked 5th in New England this week, and would certainly move up if they could pull off a win today over UConn. Chris Reef will throw it in for the Huskies. And he throws it back to Tom Foley. Foley has not really been seriously tested here in the second half. This is Donegan, far side. Back to Borja. Borja loses it. Taken away by Dugan. And in turn taken away by Churik, who goes up on the bench. Back to Dugan. Dugan tries to get it to Zapata. The ball rebounds back to Amanolo. Here's Zapata now going wide, trying to get somebody open in front. He'll be looking for Bertos when he turns around. Tries to get it in there to Bertos. And I think Foley got a hand on it.
We're going to see another card here.
We're going to see another
It's
card.
Mike Amanolo. He's going to be out of the game. And he is.
That's it.
Mike
A red card on Mike Amanolo, who is being ejected from the game. And if we can see the reaction of Coach Neil Roberts, he's just standing at the far sideline and staring at referee Vincent Morrow.
I'll tell you,
there's
Scott,
Mike Amanolo doing the same thing.
As I said in the first half, Mike's a very temperamental player and needs to control his emotions. But in a game of this magnitude, I don't know if referee Vincent Morrow made a good decision there. Now BU's going to have to play with 10 players against UConn's 11.
Well, it almost looked like a delayed reaction by Morrow. Do you think Amanolo said something to him?
I'm sure he did, Scott, but sometimes when you're a ref, you sort of have to look the other way. I know it's hard sometimes, but now we're going to see BU only with 10 players on the field, which is going to be very difficult against this tough UConn team.
Very difficult indeed, especially when the player that's going off is of the caliber of Mike Amanolo.
I don't know what he was complaining about, but it looked like the goalie took a little bit of a shot at the head of the player who was out in front of the net, but he was going for the ball.
Well, you had Mike Bertos in front trying to get a head on the ball as it was fed in by Zapata, and Tom Foley came out and got right into a crowd, got a hand on the ball, and pushed it away from Bertos. And that's when Amanolo got the card.
I think Amanolo feels the Terriers are getting treated unjustly. They are getting a lot of fouls called against them, but they are playing very aggressive soccer. So
I think the referee's done a fine job here tonight. I really do.
Well, we've already seen, as we mentioned earlier, we have seen Vincent Morrow do some excellent work already this season. as the Huskies try to set it up now. This is Donegan. Donegan going wide for O'Hara. O'Hara taken off the ball by Cortez. Now Cortez works around Donegan with a nice move. He goes back to his keeper, but there was Rammel. O'Hara now with a foot on the ball. The defense really covering up well for Leanne, but a header by Rammel, and Leanne pulls it down.
BU looks in disarray now, Scott. I think they're very upset about the loss of Manilow. They look like they're chickens with their heads cut off. I'll tell you, they gotta control and relax.
Did you get that, Sean? Chickens with their heads cut off?
Mm-hmm. I think Chris
might come
Gaffney
in-
put them in a lot of trouble there. You whiffed trying to clear it, and that could have gotten the Huskies,
That
the
particular
Terriers out of
phrase
danger.
could come in handy in a future Patriots game. Yeah.
That's right. I've announced like a chicken with my head cut off on many an occasion.
Todd D'Alessandro feeds the ball back to Chris Reef, and here come the Huskies. Hey, Sean, we see Syracuse our next two games.
I saw Jim Garant, one of the all-time great players in Syracuse history, in the stands here tonight, and he's doing a little scouting for Coach Tim Hankinson. And the Orangemen are going to have a tough year. They've lost a couple players to academic problems and really didn't do a very good job recruiting this year, bringing people in. They've lost their first couple matches, and I think BU should be able to handle them without much difficulty. Not BU, pardon me, BC. They play BU also?
Syracuse?
Yes.
No, they don't.
No, they don't. They play BC and then
UConn.
Connecticut.
Yeah,
right.
I think both of those opponents should be able to handle Syracuse without too much difficulty.
Not backing your alma mater, Sean.
No, I'm a little disappointed in the direction the program's taken. I think, as I said, they really didn't bring anybody in, and they didn't do a good job monitoring the academic progress of some of their players, and that really hurt. They had a parade.
Oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute. On the far side, you can see now we're starting to get some shoving as Vincent Morrow is taking a lot of heat from the Boston University bench.
Well, I believe that was Micah Manilow and Victor Morrow having a shouting match in the sideline, Scott.
Well, now the play is back in on field.
I am. That's what I'm doing.
I think it might be a good idea for the BU coaches to send Mike Amenolo to the locker room because he's just going to get the team more rattled if he sits on the bench and continues to taunt the officials.
And it appears that is what he's doing.
Tough guy. Yeah.
I'll tell you, Vincent Morrow has to be very careful now, not let the game get out of hand, get too physical. I think he's doing a fine job.
Here's Zapata trying to feed it ahead. Bertos charging in on Foley, who picks up the ball and goes for the short clear to D'Alessandro. That's O'Caro feeding it back.
That was a rare mistake there by Dan Donegan. He tried to get a little too fancy there, Scott. He could have just gave a simple pass. Instead, he went with a back heel.
UConn appearing to really pick up the tempo now and starting to play out of their playbook a little bit more. Offside, Mike Bertos. We are tied 1-1 midway through the second half. Both goals coming on penalty kicks. Mike Amenolo for Boston University. Amenolo has been carded twice. He has a red card. He is now sitting on the bench. BU playing shorthanded. The goal for UConn, also a penalty kick. Dan Donegan. This is Diego Borja. He was looking for Rammel. Verhagen has it for BU. Ahead to Zapata. BU now trying to set it up. And UConn tries to come back to no avail. Wayne Churick. Todd D'Alessandro with plenty of room to look. Feeds it to Reef, ahead for Churick. And out of bounds.
Yeah, I guess I do. I'm doing my best.
Boy, I wonder who we're picking up in the background there as Donegan comes down the left side. Looking for somebody in the area. Nobody there right now. Whoa! What a shot as Lulai came in. Canto Lulai on a feed from Dan Donegan. Donegan got down into the area. He saw nobody home, held it up, and waited for Lulai. And they connect to make it 2-1 UConn.
It was a great cross there by Dan Donegan, Scott. How many times have we seen him do that so far this season?
But to go wide like that and have the presence of mind to control the ball when nobody was home and wait for somebody to get there.
But here we see Donegan hit a nice swerving ball away from goalie Paulian. Lulai comes in, heads it very nicely into the net. Not much Land could do on that cross, Scott.
Boy, it looked like his head was moving in one direction, and he kind of put a little bit of a twist on it there to get it into the goal. Here, quickly, breaking back on goal, DeRozier's for Boston University. Foley picks it up.
Yeah. Well, I think BU's has had their head down ever since the Manilow ejection. They need to get back into the game very quickly now, and it's going to be very tough with only 10 players.
This is freshman Ian Gruno in the lineup for Joe Maroney now. Gruno has played very well for the Huskies this season. The scoring on that, Canto Lulai scoring from Dan Donegan, 59-45 the official time. UConn leads 2-1. That's the first goal off the field tonight. The first two of the night were penalty kicks.
That's Lulai's 4th goal already this season, and Dan Donegan's 5th assist along with 4 goals. He's having quite a year.
Well, there are a couple of legitimate Herman Trophy candidates on the field here tonight, and Ben O'Caro for Boston University and Dan Donegan for the University of Connecticut.
Well, unfortunately for the fans and for us, Scott, Ben O'Caro has been forced to move back. Neil Roberts feels he needs to shore up the defense, move Benji back. Otherwise, we might have seen a lot of scoring out of him. So it's too bad, but I think Roberts felt he had to make that decision.
And speaking of O'Caro, there he is with the ball. Donegan trying to mark him. Cortez feeds it into Buckmeyer. Back to Cortez. Coming out wide to Brumbaugh. And he tries to play it inside, but it's kicked away by Kerry Rudick. Gaffney picks it up now. Back to Brumbaugh. And a give and go onto the outside, but we have a push call.
Scott, I thought the key to the to the goal scored by Lulai was a point that Gary made in the first half about crosses being on a line, and Dan Donegan's great at it. That ball was ready to be headed when it came right out in front of the net, where if that were a flutter ball with a high loft coming across, it gives the goalie and defense much more time to react and makes it tough for other players trying to head it. So I think that's an important point for young players watching the game to realize that when you get a chance to cross it out in front, put it on a line and give your player a better chance.
Well, there was a lofted feed up in front over the heads of Zapata and DeRozier's as Foley came out to make the save. And, you know, we've mentioned this before, Sean, with the skill level of Dan Donegan. When he takes the ball into the corner like that, and we could see the way he held up and managed to dribble around and control the ball until Lulai was able to get into a home position, that's almost like giving him a corner kick.
Mm-hmm.
He sets it up the way he wants when he gets it in there.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Donegan's a very composed player, and he can put the ball wherever he wants on the field, Scott. BU gave him too much time there in the wing. He was able to pick Lulai out in the crowd, and Lulai did a very nice job with a header.
This is Kerry Rudick, and now BU really picking up the marking again, starting to get more aggressive. DeRozier's was aggressive in the first half, and I would guess that Neil Roberts wants him to do the same thing now.
Another player down.
At midfield, we have a Husky down. That's Wayne Churick. And it looks like he's favoring his left leg.
I believe that's his ankle, Scott. I was talking to Wayne before the game, and he told me that his ankle's very sore, but it's his senior year. He wants to play. But if he gets kicked in his ankle, he told me he's in big trouble, and that seems to be what's happened right here.
Well, Churick, the last couple of seasons, has been injured in the preseason and been unable to earn himself a spot in the starting lineup either last year or this year, right off the get-go, as we look at Joe Maroney talk with his captain, Chris Reef. But both years now, Wayne Churick has come back from that injury to earn a spot in the starting lineup. This is only his second start tonight, and we'll have to see if he's able to continue. It looks like Ralph Mansell is going to escort him off the field.
As you both know, Joe Maroney's a fine coach. His record over the years speaks for itself. But I think in this more of an open field situation, we see what I think UConn should do much more. They play such a tight, disciplined offensive style with short passes and working the ball up the field. When you have athletes of their skill level among the finest in the country, I think he really should loosen the reins a little bit and let some of these great players go one-on-one a lot more than they do. I think they'd score a lot more goals if they had a little bit more liberty than they do.
You were listening to my color man in the first half.
Well, I was for a while. Did he make that point?
I think he's done that a little bit this year, Sean. He's letting Dan Donegan, Lulai, and O'Hara go more often one-on-one. And we've seen the fruits of that with Donegan with a bushel of goals and assists.
You really have to. It's a waste of talent if you keep them under tight reins.
That was Brumbaugh kicking it over the goal line, so we'll have a goal kick for UConn. Reef will handle it. I'm telling you, boy, Sean, this guy knows what he's talking about. You'd think he played the game
when
the way
you play
he
the way
talks
he
about
does, you certainly ought to know something about it. And I think the point he makes about Mike Amenelo is absolutely correct. He really let the team down, and he's counted on for leadership this year. Gary, I think you'd admit one of the problems that your team had last year with all that talent from time to time was an occasional bit of dissension in the ranks and some hot tempers taking over. And I think Neil's looking to have that all be a part of the past this year. And when you have one of your leaders get thrown out of a huge game like this, it really starts the season off on a bad foot from that standpoint. Plus, now, and you never practice these situations either. You got young players out there playing a man down who really, I'm sure, are very confused as to what they should be doing.
Well, when Neil took over the job from Hank Steinbrecher 2 or 3 years ago now, Neil stressed he wanted the team to be disciplined. And when you get yellow cards and red cards, you're being undisciplined. So I'm sure Neil's very unhappy right now. A little shoving going on the field now. Between Dugan and Tunson.
25 minutes to play in the game. UConn leading 2-1. And this is not the first shoving we have seen tonight, but it is a yellow card for Dugan. Barry Dugan has also, and we mentioned this right at the outset, has been playing very aggressively tonight. You know, I'll tell you, it's been very, very lopsided, the amount of calls that are made, but I think that Vincent Morrow is making accurate calls.
It looked like they were both pushing and shoving each other there. They kind of slapped each other's hands away, but Barry was probably the instigator, and that's what the official called. He's done a good job, as we've mentioned a couple of times already. And Gary made the point when Mike Amenelo got the red card that he could have shown some judgment there and ignored it, which I agree with Gary on that. But Mike Amenelo's got to know enough with the yellow card already not to say anything and give him even the slightest temptation to pull the red card out of his pocket.
Well, also, Sean, we don't know what Vincent Morrow's pregame instructions were. Some referees say, hey, don't talk to me the whole game or else I'm giving you the yellow card. Vincent Morrow could have said that to Captain Benacurl before the game, so Amenelo should have kept his
either way,
quiet.
Mike was wrong. Very wrong, and it might well cost his team the game.
Buckmeyer with the throw-in, looking ahead for Brumbaugh, who heads it up in front to Zapata, and it's kicked away. But BU comes back. Here's Zapata again, and he takes the shot wide left. Fouls this half. We're talking about the number of calls, 11 for Boston University, 2 for UConn. That is a little bit of a discrepancy. But
Yes,
again, it's not like...
Vincent hasn't been inventing them. They've been there.
They've been there, and he's been calling a good game. He's been maintaining control.
And Coach Joe's been maintaining nice control tonight on the sidelines.
Dan Donegan ready to come back into the lineup for UConn. Donegan scoring the Huskies' first goal on a penalty kick now.
I think Joe Maroney would be able to relax a lot more with Dan Donegan back in the game, and if he could relax.
Right when I said that, there goes Joe streaming down the sideline. He's coming on the field now.
Look at that, and Joe is not mad at Vincent Morrow. He is mad at Canto Lulai, who just drew a red card. Now, that's exactly, I'm sure, what Joe just said to Canto when he pulled him away. Shut up.
Well, it's 1-1 on the stupidity scoreboard tonight.
I don't believe he got ejected. I think he got a yellow card because I see Dan Donegan checking in, but I can't tell the caller Vincent Morrow's card right
now. It looked like a red card. And Joe reacted like it was more than a yellow. Now, I don't know.
Let's count the players. That's probably the easiest way.
He's out.
He's out.
Yep, he is out. Now that brings BU back in the game because I think playing 10 against 11, they had no chance. But now it's even.
Well, let me ask you something, Gary. On this small field now, you take 2 players off. Does that make it a bigger field for UConn?
It makes it a bigger field for both teams, Scott. Both teams forward should have a lot more space now. Very congested when it's 11 versus 11. 10 versus 10 should be a little bit better for this field.
Don't you think that favors UConn, though, because they're a little more experienced and have better players up front than BU?
That's a good point there, Sean. But they lost one of their experienced players, Canto Lulai. But I think the loss of Mike Amenelo to BU is a little bigger than UConn using Canto Lulai. They're a little deeper. Amenelo's their superstar. He's their scorer. He's the 6th leading scorer already for BU, and he's only a junior.
Here come the Terriers, but a clear back into the area picked up by Foley.
But in a game like this, Scott and Sean, the players have to be disciplined. You can't be getting yellow and red cards like we're seeing tonight. I know it's a very frustrating experience for both teams. It's a very hard game, but you got to maintain your composure. You can't be getting cards.
As I said at the time, it's 1-1 on the stupidity scoreboard, and just grave errors on the part of both.
Now, is that on the field or up here in the booth?
They don't have the stupidity scoreboard working tonight here either.
We have no scoreboard clock, is what Sean is alluding to, as Chris Reef tries to clear it away from Zapata, and it is called over the end line. Now, that should be a corner kick.
Oh, it's a goal kick. Reef did a nice job there. He's just shielding the ball out of bounds. He was in playing distance of the ball, so the referee couldn't call obstruction. He's shielding Zapata off the ball very nicely. Just let it roll out of bounds for a UConn goal kick.
They said Sean alluded to the fact that we don't have a scoreboard clock, so we can only guess on time. But I would guess that we are under 20 minutes to play in regulation now, with UConn leading 2-1. And the Terriers now trying to set something up as we play 10 on 10. Both teams have scored on a penalty kick tonight. Here comes DeRosiers. He's taken off the ball by Borja, and Reef picks it up. Reef tries to feed it ahead, but it'll go out of bounds. Both teams have scored on penalty kicks tonight. Micah Manilow for Boston University. Dan Donegan for UConn. Then Donegan setting up Canto Lulai for a header that gave UConn the 2-1 lead. We have had 2 ejections from tonight's game. Red cards on Micah Manilow for BU, Canto Lulai for UConn.
I'm sure you'd both agree that the referee is much more likely to pull out the red card for one team when he's already taken it out for somebody on the other team.
Makes it come out a little bit easier.
It's a good point, Sean. But now, as I said before, 3 yellow cards or 1 red card warrants that both players must sit out their next match, which could cost UConn. They're playing Syracuse. I'm sure Joe Maroney would like to have Canto Lulai in the lineup against the Orangemen.
Well, that makes him have to juggle his starting lineup again, which is something he doesn't like to do. That'll be his second lineup change of the season. Here's Ben O'Caro. Long feed ahead, looking for Buckmeyer. Buckmeyer loses it to Borja, out to Donegan. Donegan being marked by Tony Lawler. And O'Caro picks up the errant pass from Donegan.
I'll tell you what we'll see very soon. If BU doesn't score soon, we'll see Ben O'Caro being pushed up to forward or possibly midfield by Neil Roberts in an effort to get a goal.
Todd D'Alessandro. Brumbaugh tries to take him off the ball. Here's freshman Ian Gruno. And Tony Lawler works it back to D'Alessandro. Gruno again. UConn playing with it around the midfield area. Chris Reef into the area, picked up by Paul Leanne. Wayne Churrick apparently feeling better, waiting to come back into the lineup. He left with what appeared to be an injured ankle earlier, or a re-injury. Bertos trying to work around Reef, unable to do so. Reef and Kerry Rudick teaming on Bertos to keep him out of the area.
Bertos got his hands up a little bit too high there. You're allowed to use your shoulders in soccer, but Bertos was using his arm and his elbow, which is a foul.
This is Steve Rammel back there with Tom Foley.
Gary, you mentioned a moment ago the possibility of Ben moving up to midfield, maybe even forward. How much time left do you think there would have to be before Neil would make that move?
I'd say about 10 or 12 minutes, Sean. He doesn't want to gamble the game away and let UConn get the 3rd goal, which would break BU's back. He wants to let them play for a while and see if they can get a goal without moving Ben up. But if they don't get the goal, I'm sure we'll see Ben move up.
Well, how confident can you be, Gary, when you've seen that cost you a goal once already this season? That kind of play late in the game.
But as you said earlier in one of our earlier games, Scott, you got to take the chance. What's the difference if you lose 1-0 or 5-0? You might as well take the chances.
You're right. I did say that.
You did.
Words of wisdom from the broadcast.
And obviously he remembered them.
This kid's good, Sean. I'm telling you.
I know. We could both be in job jeopardy in the future. We've created a monster here.
Well, I wouldn't say that. Here comes UConn trying to fly downfield. Ian Gruno trying to get by Cortez. Cortez holds his ground. Fred Carlos ahead to Dan Donegan. Now Donegan will work on Cortez, and it's picked up by Ben O'Caro. O'Caro streaking back downfield. He's taking it in alone, folks. O'Caro cleared away by Reef, and Steve Rammel picks it up. Rammel tries to get it ahead to O'Hara, overshoots him, and Cortez clears it back to Leanne.
We're seeing the game open up quite a bit now, Scott. We're seeing O'Caro push up a little bit more. Ben was a little disappointed there. He wanted to give the ball up to someone, but no one made a run, so Ben had to try and dribble the ball.
Chris Brumbaugh was off to his right and looked like he was about to die. He was ahead of Ben by about 20 yards when Ben first got the ball, and I think Ben was looking for him to make a run down the right sideline, and he just stopped.
This is Robert Buckmeyer, all the way back to Leanne. We'll set it up from there on a long kick out to midfield. Donegan heads it back toward the UConn offensive end. It's picked up by Tony Lawler. Lawler ahead looking for Verhagen or Zapata. Verhagen with a foot on it.
BU's not going to win the game by serving those long balls into the middle of the field. UConn's defense is too strong.
Well, here's Ian Bruno. Buckmeyer brings it down and gets it ahead to Verhagen. Back to Buckmeyer. Ahead to DeRozier. And DeRozier works around Diego Borja. Brumbaugh back to DeRozier. Now trying to get into the area. Working it in front, leaving it for Brumbaugh. Brumbaugh unable to get a foot on it. Taken off by Fred Carlos. Carlos brings it back for UConn. Dan Donegan near sideline. Ben O'Caro back to pick him up. He tries to get it ahead to a streaking Kevin O'Hara, but O'Caro takes it away.
We saw two great plays there by O'Caro. He's very good at reading the game, Scott, and he anticipated what Dan Donegan was going to do and just dispossessed him of the ball.
It's not often that you see somebody who picks up Donegan and forces him to stop like that.
Not at all.
Donegan ahead to Rammel this time. Rammel trying to get a foot on it, but O'Caro gets between Rammel and the ball. And O'Caro brings it back the other way. Rammel stays with him, holds his shirt. We're looking for a call, and there it is.
No need for
yellow
that.
Card on Steve Rammel. No excuse.
Well, I think that's not such a bad foul after all, guys. He's just trying to hold O'Caro back a little bit. It happens a lot of times, and he almost got away with it. If his shirt didn't come back so much, we wouldn't have seen it.
But Ben was certainly in no danger of scoring a
He's
goal
no
110 yards away from
But Rammel didn't want him to get too far downfield. Just slowing him down a little, pulls his shirt, gets a yellow card for it.
Maybe a little frustration at being caught a little bit mismatched on that particular play.
I don't know who BU has left on the bench that Neil has confidence in, but Chris Brumbaugh looks like he's really, really tired out there, walking around with his hands on his hips most of the time.
A long feed in, picked up by Foley. This copyrighted program is brought to you under pay cable TV rights granted by Boston University solely for the entertainment of our viewing audience. Any publication, rebroadcast, retransmission, or other use of the accounts and descriptions of this game without the written consent of the New England Sports Network and Boston University is prohibited. Aren't we supposed to make a production number out of that?
Yes, you are. I didn't hear the band playing.
That's right. We're supposed to have a lot of, we lead into that, don't we?
That's right. That's the disclaimer, which I'm disappointed you still have to read off the sheet there, Scott. I thought you'd have that memorized by now.
Well, I mean, basically it means don't try to tape
don't tape it
and charge
tell,
admission.
That's right. Don't invite your friends over. And this one's been worth the price of admission. Really been an entertaining game, a little chippy at times, but
there's one guy that'll be looking at tapes of this game, Joe Maroney. And he won't charge admission either. He just won't let you in to watch it with the team.
I have a feeling he'll have a few choice words for a few of his men after this one.
I just hope all the cards, the yellow and red cards, and all the fouls don't take away. This has been a very well-played game.
Sure has been.
It's been a very, very exciting game. It's unfortunate that we have seen so many cards, but really, Vincent Morrow, because of the aggressive style of play tonight, he really had to maintain control, and he's done a good job. Things seem to even out in the end.
I think all the players and coaches know the importance of the game, so they're playing a little bit over-aggressive, and that's why we're seeing the yellow and red cards. BU knows they have to win this game, otherwise they'll be 0-2 in New England. Meanwhile, UConn wants to remain undefeated in New England.
And they're pretty fierce rivals to begin with anyway.
And again, we're getting a lot of play around the midfield area. This is Cortez.
Once again, BU's playing too much in the middle. They have to get the ball outside to the flanks. They're not going to score going down the middle of the field.
Donegan loses it to Verhagen. It's ahead to Zapata. Zapata goes wide right, puts it into the area. Unable to get a head on it is Bertos. And trying to clear it away and clearing it out of bounds is Diego Borja. As we look at the clock, we can see that we have about 14 minutes left to play in the game.
Well, that's just what I was talking about there, Scott. BU got the ball wide and had a very good scoring opportunity. Zapata did very well to keep the ball in bounds, and Bertos just missed the header.
That was a good ball by Zapata out of the corner.
14 minutes to go, Gary. We are getting to the point where we might see O'Caro moving up now.
Definitely very close to that time, Scott.
Chris Reeve gets it ahead to Fred Carlos. UConn leading 2-1 as Wayne Churick loses the ball out of bounds. He seems to be moving well on the ankle.
Tripped over the sideline there.
That's what we call a turf trip here. Those players that play a lot on turf know every once in a while you just, for no reason, you just fall over your feet. It just happens.
That's why I immediately checked to see how he was moving on the ankle. After he came back up, I thought maybe that was the problem.
We have a little joke with the BU guys. We said there's a sniper in the crowd somewhere.
That's right.
Made you trip like that.
I don't know if you ever played in the Carrier Dome, Gary, but that field is notorious for that as well. Really, I think it's really spongy turf. I walked on your field here before the game, and it's nice to play on because it is so soft, but I think you're more prone to that on a soft, artificial turf surface.
BU trying to get something going in front, but the UConn defense not even letting them into the area and clearing it back to Tom Foley.
Gary, I'm curious, you watching your first BU UConn game as a graduate, how painful it is to watch. I'm sure you still, from time to time, have the pangs and want to be out there and play.
I'd love to be out there tonight, just playing for either team. You know, it's very exciting. Whenever these two teams get together, there's always a big crowd. It's always a very exciting game, always a very close game. It's always fun to play in.
Here's Gaffney, and he'll clear it all the way back to goal. We're down to about 12 minutes to play. UConn up by 1, 2-1. Verhagen clears it back.
I'll tell you a move I see right now, Scott. We have Robert Buckmeyer playing up on the front line. He was a forward in high school, scored quite a few goals, came to BU, and Neil Roberts has been using him as an outside back. So perhaps he feels Buckmeyer can get a few goals.
Looking for Imanolo, but taken away by Dan Donegan. Or actually, that was O'Caro that he was looking for.
If he was looking for a Manilow, he better be looking on the bench.
No, it can't happen. It can't happen. I've seen it.
I think Neil Roberts has made his move. I think we have Ben O'Caro moving upfield.
And the free kick for Boston University. Brumbaugh now. Taken off by Gruno. You're right, Sean. He does look a little tired.
Got to do something with the ball.
Well, in defense of Brumbaugh there, no one made a move for him. All the BU players were caught standing, and Brumbaugh made a nice run. He was looking for something in the middle, but everyone just stood there watching him. Soccer, you have to keep moving constantly. You can't stay in one place.
Chris looks like he might have been hurt there. You see him on the left of your picture bent over, and he's limping a little as he heads back up the field.
And it looks like his left leg.
If he's tired and wants to come out, the best thing to do would be lie down to the field, and they can get a substitution in for him.
Donegan back to Churick. Churick with a nice move to keep the ball to D'Alessandro. Chris Reef. The Huskies really in no real hurry to give up possession. If they have to play with it in their own end, they will. Here's Donegan. Looking for Borja. Goes out off UConn. And Gaffney will throw it back in for Boston University. Well, this may be jumping the gun a little bit, but we've been handed a note that for UConn, this could be the first come-from-behind win since a 2-1 win over Brown in overtime last October.
The game that was televised here on NESN.
And that is, of course, if they hold on here.
You know, it also said from Chuck Steedman, who does a great job promoting UConn soccer, that the Lulai red card was the first for UConn since Matt Mosier got one against North Carolina State last year. Doesn't happen very often with the control that Joe Maroney insists on from his players.
That Matt Mosier red card was very costly to UConn when they played Boston University last year because the sit-out game for Mosier was the BU game. And that was when we first saw Chris Reef move into the backfield. Goal kick UConn.
Guess they're going to call it a throw-in, and that's too bad because BU had a couple of subs they wanted to get in, and UConn has one as well. And Brumball was one of the players heading off, so I think he is a little shaken up.
Well, the linesman was right down there on the call as Kevin O'Hara is going after the ball on the near side. He cuts inside Cortez, tries to feed it back. Here's Fred Carlos. He overshoots him. Diego Borja picks it up, takes the shot high.
Now they can get the subs in. Steve Rammel coming back in for UConn, and Dugan and DeRozier's coming back in for BU.
Well, I think Borja would have been better off there to dribble the ball in a little bit. He was a little bit too far out, I think, to beat goalie Paul Leanne. And I believe UConn had a numerical advantage, which is what you look for to attack. Once you have a numerical advantage, you want to attack. I think Borja should have looked for a combination with perhaps Dan Donegan or O'Hara.
Mike Amanolo sitting with a red card, and he will also sit out Boston University's next game.
I'm sure Mike's very upset about this. He's a fierce competitor, a real nice person.
Reef gets it back to Foley. Foley again taking his time, setting things up. Short feed out to Gruno. Gruno back to Foley.
Looking down there, it looks like Ben O'Caro is really still in the back, although he's cheating up a little bit, and I think it's getting to be crunch time for the Terriers. We've got to be near 10 minutes to go or even less now.
DeRozier's now handling the marking of D'Alessandro, and he's called for a push.
And BU hasn't had a good scoring opportunity since that Zapata cross, so they really need to start pushing forward. They are losing 2-1.
Chris Reef with the kick. Ahead for Donegan. Donegan going down the far sideline. Tries to pop it over to Rammel, unable to get it there, and Cortez heads it out of bounds.
So there's 7 minutes to play, Scott.
7 minutes to play. UConn leading 2-1 as Dan Donegan again tries to pop it into the middle where he had Gruno waiting. And again, he was unable to get it there. And again, BU kicks it out of bounds. That's Kevin O'Hara sitting on the sideline at the scorer's table waiting to come back in. BU gets the throw in this time.
I believe that's Tommy Armour with a throw and a transfer from Clemson.
Come on, Steven!
Armour, another number switch now, wearing number 13, which was worn by Bertos in the first game of the season. Bertos wearing 10 tonight. This is Zapata wearing 11. Zapata puts it ahead. He's got Bertos. Bertos leaves it for O'Caro. And O'Caro puts it up in front. Dugan almost got a head on it. This is DeRozier's kicking it wide left.
Thought that was a little bit of an impatient play. He wasn't really near anybody and might have been able to take that ball down and do something a bit more productive with it.
Too anxious to one-touch it, but he was outside the area. He had still a lot of room in front of him, and he had players in a lateral position.
Once again, that could be communication. DeRozier's might have felt a lot of pressure while there wasn't any. If one of the BU players just shouted out time, DeRozier's could have chested the ball down to his feet.
Well, if Gary Swanson was out there, he would have told him that.
Communications, the 12th player. Well, actually, tonight's 11th player because both teams are playing with only 10.
That's right. Well, we've seen plenty of communication with the ref and some of the players.
There's Kevin O'Hara trying to get it ahead to Donegan. Donegan trying to outrun Tony Lawler, and he does to get to the ball. But Armour picks it up in the area and brings it back for Boston University.
Ben Okuru is now playing forward for the Terriers. Might have been a little bit too late because now there's only about 5 minutes left, and Okuru might not even see that much of the ball.
Well, he's got 5 minutes to adjust to a new position, too, Gary. How difficult is this going to be?
Well, for a player like Okuru, it won't take long. Like I just say, Reef can play anywhere in the field. Ben Okuru can play anywhere in the field. It won't take him much time to adjust.
This is DeRozier's with the ball. And a throw in for BU.
This is Buckmeyer. He has a very long throw, and they'll try and use this like a corner kick.
but it's Reef that gets ahead on it, and he gets it back to O'Hara. Buckmeyer to Donegan, and Donegan lets it go out of bounds. It'll be a UConn throw-in. He puts it ahead for Fred Carlos. Lawler kicks it out.
Carlos is doing the right thing now. Leave the ball for someone else and kill a little more time off the clock.
Vincent Morrow is called. UConn was a little
obvious in that delay.
Yeah, let's stop the clock for a moment, fellas.
If they're a little bit calmer, Vincent Morrow wouldn't have stopped the clock. If they just sort of took their time, not so obviously, the clock would have kept running.
There's nothing more aggravating as a player when you're behind to watch the other team stall like that.
Joe Maroney, that's his original clipboard. He did not break a clipboard when Canto Lulai got the red card. He almost broke Canto Lulai. Oh, and a shot wide right. Oh, a shot just wide right of the goal. As UConn tried to set it up and Carlos tried to score.
Carlos had an opening there. He might have done well just to put the ball the inside of his foot instead of his instep. Here's the cross. Carlos comes in. Lawler misses a slide tackle. Carlos has all kinds of time, just places the ball just wide. Nice effort by Carlos. He did have his head up. He did try and place the ball in the far corner.
I think he topped that a little bit, too. I think he got up on that a little bit.
3 minutes.
We can see 3 minutes to play in the game. UConn trying to up its record to 4-2-1, while BU, on the other hand, is trying desperately not to fall to 1-3 on the early season as they defend their New England championship. And it's Reef taking the ball away and kicking it back out to Donegan. Donegan will try to get it down the sideline. He does on a long feed. Lawler will have to go back and chase it. The Huskies will let BU chase for the next 3 minutes if that's what it takes to eat up the clock. Lawler bringing it down. He tries a long feed in off the head of Bertos. Picked up by Buckmeyer, taken off by Ian Gruno, kicked out by Kerry Rudick, and Zapata puts it in front, where Ocaro picks it up. Reef kicks it away from him, and Gruno kicks it out of danger.
I'll tell you, Scott, it could be dangerous for UConn just to keep kicking the ball out like this. BU will just keep coming back, putting more and more pressure on the UConn defense. They'd be better to possess the ball if they can.
Well, UConn letting them have all the downfield area to work with and picking them up as they come in. This is Gruno on the pickup. Gruno working on Armour. Armour tries to get it into Ocaro.
Right now, Scott, I think BU's trying to force it to Ocaro too much. They know he's the man they need to counter, but UConn's marking him very tightly. They might be better to use him as a decoy.
Well, this time, Steve Rammel takes advantage of the fact that maybe they were trying just a little bit too lackadaisically, and he's called for the offside.
Kind of a slow whistle there.
And again, stopping the clock. As there are 2 balls on the field. Another, well, I don't think that was a UConn delay tactic. It just fell out of the hands of the ball boy. And now Cortez will bring it in for BU. And again, he tries to go ahead to Ocaro. It's headed by Ocaro, but picked up by Dan Donegan, who's taken down from behind by Armour.
Interesting to see if this is a card.
I don't think it's a card, but we do get a warning to Armour.
Gary's so right about Ben Ocaro. They just got him surrounded. I really think they have to look elsewhere. I mean, we're talking about quality Division I players at the other positions up front there, too, and one of them is going to have to be a hero, it looks like, because Ben's not going to get the chance.
This is Kevin O'Hara. It's kicked away on a sliding tackle.
Well, BU really needs another scorer. Right this season, Micah Mennel has 2 goals and Ben Ocaro has 1. They need someone else very badly to score.
30 seconds left, we're told.
And UConn with a 2-1 lead. Wayne Churick into Rammel. Rammel just outside the area. And it's kicked out over the end by Tony Lawler.
That'll be the game, I would have to think.
I see Vincent Moore looking at his watch.
Well, here we go. It's good. Well, no, a long high kick.
The horn sounded along the side, and
that's it.
That is the game.
That's the game. UConn coming away with a 2-1 lead, or a 2-1 win. So the Huskies getting a measure of revenge for last year's 2-0 loss in New Britain, snapping a 2-game BU winning streak in this series.
Looking across the field, Scott, as the game ended, I looked at Neil Roberts. He had his head down in a crouch and didn't move, just was staring at the turf for several seconds as Joe Maroney walked over to shake his hand. And I think he's really dejected with this loss because his team played well. And you have to really begin with Micah Menelo. Not only ruining the number of players on the field for a little while, but he's the #1 guy offensively, as Gary pointed out and you pointed out, and without him to make up that 1-goal deficit, they were really fighting an uphill battle and they couldn't climb it.
Well, like I say, sometimes you can really be happy, or you don't like to lose, but you can feel good about the way you played, and I'm sure he can feel good about the way he played. But to lose with your big man on the bench over a foolish mistake really is. You see Neil Roberts just congratulating Diego Borjas. He heads into his locker room. He has got to be dejected about a foolish mistake that took his big man out of the game. And UConn takes the game 2-1. UConn now with a 4-2-1 record on the season. Boston University with a 1-3 record on the season. UConn ranked #2 in New England, and coming up down the road a little piece, a game against Harvard is going to tell us legions about what happens in New England college soccer this year. So with our final score, UConn 2, Boston University 1. We'll be back to look at the stats and wrap it up right after these messages.
There's no place on earth that I'd rather be than out in the open, where it's all plain to see. If it's gonna get done, it's up to you and to me. Come on and head for the mountains of Bush. Head for the mountains of Bush. Beer.
Why do you invest with Charles Schwab?
My commission savings over several years have been substantial. Very substantial.
Well, I just opened my Schwab account this week. Bought 100 shares of stock, and I saved $49.
I cut my commission costs in half. Period.
Here at Schwab, we drive down your commission costs, and we do it with a level of service that you'll really appreciate.
For your free Schwab booklet, call toll-free 800-338-8000.
Well, we came to the second half of this game with Boston University leading 1-0 on a first-half penalty kick by Mike Emanuelo, but UConn got an opportunity to tie it up in the same fashion early in the second half. Setting up a Dan Donegan penalty kick was this play.
Here's Diego Borja. He hits a nice cross into the box. Brian Parker's coming to get the ball, and Cortez trips him up from behind. Not a good decision there by Cortez. Parker was going away from the goal. Couldn't really do much with that ball anyway.
And then we had the penalty kick that was taken by Dan Donegan, and, your situation, the shooter and the keeper, and both people played this pretty well. Paul Leanne played it well from the keeper's end, but Dan Donegan just got off a perfect shot, picked his corner, and found it.
Division I college soccer, you'll see the shooter should make 9 out of 10 penalty kicks. If he's just calm, picks his corner out, places the ball, he'll make it 9 out of 10 times.
And Dan Donegan made the penalty kick that made the score 1-1.
I thought on this play that Paul Leanne obviously guessed the right way, but I thought he started to move just a little too late. See, he was still stationary when Donegan was over the ball, and you really got to start to move. You can have any chance of that ball just inside the post.
Well, Donegan placed it very nicely into the side of the post, and Leanne did have to pick a corner and guess, but as you say, now he's not supposed to leave till he hits the ball. But now referees sort of let the goalie take one step.
Yes,
sometimes, so if you watch the World Cup, the goalies they're in the corner by the time the guy hits the ball.
That's why they stop him a little more often than we see at this level.
So
but I think he could have cheated a step.
Well, if you're the goalie, you might as well cheat. What the heck? He's most likely gonna make it anyway. And if you save the ball, good.
Well, that penalty kick made it 1-1, and then UConn came on with the game winner again on a really nice play by Dan Donegan as he took it wide to the left of the area and waited until he had a man home. And at this point where you pick up the action, Gary, nobody was home, but Donegan waited for the setup.
Dan Donegan just picking his head up right here. We'll see him. Ben Acuro should be out pressuring him a little bit more. Let Donegan get the cross in. It's a nice cross. Lulai comes in unmarked. No BU Terrier near him. Hits the ball by Leanne. I think he caught Leanne in between there. Leanne didn't know whether to come out and get the cross or stay in the line, and Leanne was caught in between.
We should also point out that was during the time when BU was playing a man short because Mike Amenolo was already out of the game. Lulai was not, and that might have been another reason why Lulai was so unmarked out in front of the net.
And just moments later, Canto Lulai also drew a red card, and he left the game. Gary, a very damaging loss for Boston University.
Well, right now, Scott, BU cannot afford to lose another New England game the rest of the season. Right now, they're 1-3. 0-2 in New England. It doesn't get any easier than this. It doesn't get any harder than this for BU. I mean, they just cannot lose another game in New England if they want to qualify for the NCAA playoffs.
And next up for the University of Connecticut Huskies will be a game in stores on Sunday when they take on the Orange of Syracuse. But tonight, UConn, ranked 18th in the nation, number 2 in New England, comes away victorious. Once again, the final score from Nickerson Field, the University of Connecticut 2, Boston University 1. Tonight's game has been brought to you in part by Busch Beer, the beer that tastes as smooth as its name, Busch. New England College soccer action continues this Saturday as the Boston College Eagles take on the Syracuse Orange Men from Chestnut Hill. Tape-delayed coverage begins Saturday morning at 10 a.m. That's Syracuse and Boston College this Saturday. Then on Monday, the Orange Men travel to the University of Connecticut to meet the Huskies. Tape-delayed coverage of that contest begins Monday night at 10:30. That's Syracuse and UConn this Monday night right here on NESN. The executive producer of New England College Sports on NESN is Bob Whitelaw. Tonight's game has been produced and directed by John Vasallo. Our graphic coordinator is Tom McNeely, and our associate director is Mike Waller. New England College Soccer has been a presentation of NESN, your New England sports network. We deliver.
This is NESN, your New England sports network.
From the Delaware County Fairgrounds, Delaware, Ohio, the 42nd edition of the Little Brown Jug, brought to you by the Kentucky Standard Bread Sales Company and the Camfella Syndicate.
As the month of August arrived, Run the Table was getting his act together, winning the Oliver Wendell Holmes in 151-1 at the Meadowlands on August the 6th. Then devastating his foes in the Adios Pace at the Meadows in heats of 154 and 153-2. Frugal Gourmet wasn't sitting back on his laurels either. He won the Prix d'Eté at Blue Bonnets in Montreal.